Obsession doesn't arrive with a bang. It begins as a whisper. Shadow that moves when you turn your head. For Sarah, it began as innocent attention from a seemingly harmless admirer. But admiration has a dark twin, fixation.
I'm telling you, I think someone is watching me. I'm heading out now. I'll call you as soon as I'm in the car.
It's probably nothing, Mark. Just a guy from the office who stares a bit too long. I'm just being paranoid, right?
At first, it was manageable. A few strange messages, an uninvited presence at her workplace. We tell ourselves stories to stay safe. We call it a crush. We call it a coincidence.
They'll think I'm crazy. He hasn't actually done anything.
The game of cat and mouse turns into a hunt. The stalker, once invisible in the background, begins to reveal a dark history of fixation and violent tendencies.
You say he was just there? For how long?
Every day. He didn't talk. He just existed in her space.
We're setting surveillance. You're not alone.
She answered the phone. Then she froze. The voice on the other end did not speak. She heard only heavy breathing, a thick, deliberate sound, a sound that filled the small space of her kitchen. It felt close, too close. Then the line clicked dead. The silence that followed was worse than the breathing. It was a small thing. It should have felt like a small thing. A wrong number, a prank call. But that night, a cold certainty settled in her chest, a truth she could not ignore. Someone was not just watching her anymore. Someone had crossed a line, Her heart began to beat in a new rhythm. It was not the fast, panicked beat of surprise. It was a slow, heavy thud. A drum beat for a march she did not choose. She stood by the counter, the phone still warm in her hand. The glow from the street lamp outside cast long shadows across the floor. They seemed to move. They seemed to reach for her. Every small sound from outside became magnified. The rustle of leaves, the distant hum of a car, a dog barking down the block. Each noise felt like a signal, a message meant only for her. She looked at her own reflection in the dark kitchen window. A pale face stared back. The eyes were wide. The expression was one she did not recognize. It was the look of prey. It was the look of someone who has just understood the nature of the game. This was not a random act of annoyance. This was personal. This was targeted. The person on the other end of that line knew her number. They knew when she would be home. They knew she would be alone. The knowledge was a physical weight. It pressed down on her shoulders. That single call changed everything. It was the turning point. Before, there had been a vague unease, a feeling she could dismiss. Now, there was a name for it. It was a hunt, and she was the one being hunted. The simple comfort of her own home evaporated. The four walls that were once her sanctuary now felt like a cage where the hunter could look in at any time. She knew, with a certainty that chilled her to the bone, that this was just the beginning. The plan was dark. The plan was patient. And it was all for her. We do not need to show the violence. We do not need to see it to understand it. The horror of the moment is clear in what was left behind. It is clear in the abrupt end of a story. A set of house keys clattered onto the cold, damp pavement. They skipped once, twice, then they rolled and came to a stop directly under the weak glow of a street lamp. The lamp flickered, its light stuttering as if in protest. Then, for a moment, it dimmed, casting the small, metallic objects into shadow. The sound of their fall was the last ordinary sound of the night. There was a sharp, sudden intake of breath. A gasp cut short. It hung in the night air for a fraction of a second. Then the sound of shoes scuffling on the concrete. A desperate, frantic dance. A hand reached for a front door that would never open. The scrape of fingernails against wood. Then a different set of footsteps. Heavier, slower. They faded away into the darkness, leaving an absence that was louder than any scream. A profound and final quiet descended on the scene. Later, the silence was broken. It was broken by the hollow cry of distant sirens. The sound grew steadily, a wail that tore through the quiet neighborhood. It was a sound of emergency, a sound of irreversible loss. A police radio crackled to life, a voice speaking in clipped, urgent codes. The sounds of procedure trying to make sense of chaos. But after the initial flurry of arrival, an all-consuming silence returned. It was a heavy, watchful silence. It felt like a trapdoor closing on a life, sealing it away from the world of the living. The sun rose on a world that felt fundamentally altered. The ordinary suburban street was transformed into a somber stage. Neighbors emerged from their homes, drawn by a morbid curiosity and a shared sense of shock. They stood on their lawns in small, quiet groups. They spoke in hushed tones. Their body language was stiff, uncertain. They looked at the house, now cordoned off, as if seeing it for the first time. It was no longer just a house. It was a landmark of a tragedy. The yellow tape was a stark, brutal boundary between yesterday and today. This was a place of manicured lawns. Now, it was a place of official vehicles and grim-faced detectives. The air, usually filled with the sounds of birds and distant traffic, was heavy with an unnatural quiet. The media arrived soon after. They used words like shocking and senseless. To the world, it was a story. To the people who lived here, it was a wound. Their questions hung in the air, filled with the weight of what could not be changed. A small, makeshift memorial began to grow near the police tape. These small gestures were a quiet rebellion against the violence. They were an attempt to reclaim the street for the living. This was not a story of a monster hiding in the shadows. He was an ordinary man. He lived in plain view, a face you'd pass in a crowd and forget instantly. These are the hardest predators to see, a master of blending in. Police found a journal in his small, neat apartment. Inside, precise, detailed notes. He documented her schedule, her routes, the times she turned lights on and off. Enough warning signs often exist. They are scattered like breadcrumbs along the path to tragedy.
Which detail of this case haunts you the most? Let us know in the comments. Subscribe to Haunting Mysteries Unsolved Murder channel for more haunting videos.